Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, March the 22nd, 2016. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the AIPAC National Policy Conference today via a video link-up from Israel. Netanyahu began his address extending his deep condolences to the people of Brussels, Belgium, after two explosions at the city's Zaventem airport and a metro station killed at least 34 people and injured over 200. The Islamic State reportedly has taken responsibility. The Israeli Prime Minister linked the attacks to terror attacks in Israel and across the world. He said the chain of attacks from Paris to San Bernardino, from Istanbul to the Ivory Coast, and now to Brussels, and the daily attacks on Israel, this is one continuous assault on all of us. In all these cases, the terrorists have no resolvable grievances. What they seek is our utter destruction. We won't let that happen. Netanyahu in his remarks also thanked President Obama for his support and military aid and thanked Congress for its strong bipartisan support for Israel, as well as that of the American people. He also restated his readiness to restart peace efforts with the Palestinians. Netanyahu said, "I am ready to agree to talks immediately without preconditions, anytime, anywhere." You will be able to see the Prime Minister's plenary session as well as those of Vice President Joe Biden and Israeli opposition leader Isaac Herzog next week on JBS in primetime. And JBS provided full coverage of all three Republican speeches from yesterday afternoon's plenary at AIPAC, as well as Hillary Clinton's address from yesterday morning. Republican John Kasich told the AIPAC plenary yesterday in regards to his support of Israel, "We cannot be neutral defending our allies," in what was an apparent reference to remarks made recently by Donald Trump regarding his neutrality on the Israeli-Palestinian issue. Republican presidential hopeful Ted Cruz also referred to Trump remarks, saying, "As president, I will not be neutral." Cruz added, "We need a president who will be a champion for Israel." Trump's address at AIPAC aimed to take more of a stand on Israel. Trump said that the Palestinians have to approach peace talks aware of the unbreakable bond between the U.S. and Israel, and that the Palestinians must come to the table willing to accept that Israel is a Jewish state and it will exist forever as a Jewish state. Today, AIPAC President Lillian Pincus came down hard on attendees in the audience last night that applauded remarks made by Trump against President Obama. Trump said in his speech, "President Obama is in his final year, yay," adding he may be the worst thing that ever happened to Israel. Pincus released a statement from AIPAC today saying the message of the conference was unity, but that last night's occurrence has the potential to divide. Pincus said, "We say unequivocally that we do not countenance ad hominem attacks, and we take great offense to those that are levied at the President of the United States of America from our stage," adding, "We are disappointed that so many people applauded a sentiment that we neither agree with nor condone." Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton spoke earlier in the day yesterday, where she affirmed that Israel's security is non-negotiable. Clinton said America can't ever be neutral when it comes to Israel's security or survival. Democratic contender Bernie Sanders was not at AIPAC, but did express his commitment to Israel's security in a speech made yesterday while campaigning in Salt Lake City. Sanders said there must be, quote, "unconditional recognition by all of Israel's right to exist and an end to attacks of all kinds against Israel." But he also accused Israel of using disproportionate force in response to attacks, and that for peace to occur, Israel would have to, quote, "end what amounts to the occupation of Palestinian territory, establishing mutually agreed upon borders and pulling back settlements in the West Bank." In other news, the IDF announced heightened security measures ahead of the Purim holiday this week. The preventative measures include a temporary closure of the West Bank. Palestinians will not be allowed to enter or exit the West Bank unless for humanitarian, medical, and exceptional cases. The closure will go into effect tomorrow and remain through Saturday. Jewish talk show host Leon Charney has died. Charny was a prominent lawyer, author, and broadcaster. He was also a former advisor to U.S. President Jimmy Carter, Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, and Israeli President Ezer Weizmann. Charny helped free Soviet Jews and acted as a backdoor channel in efforts that ultimately led to the Camp David Peace Accords and Camp David Peace Agreement between Israel and Egypt. Last year, Charny founded the Leon Charny Resolution Center in the central Israeli city of Ramat HaSharon, dedicated to both the history and the future of negotiations, peace, and learning. Charny was perhaps best known, though, as moderator for over 25 years of the Leon Charny Report. He passed away yesterday in Israel, where he lived, at the age of 78. He is survived by his wife and 2 children. JBS President Mark S. Golub said he was profoundly saddened by Leon's passing. Golub said he was a pioneer in Jewish television, and his vast diplomatic experience gave him access to people of the highest caliber. He will be sorely missed and remembered always for good. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, March the 22nd. At 7 o'clock, Women of the Wall founder Anat Hoffman talks about Israeli social issues. At 8, Rabbi Shai Held and Rabbi David Ingber talk about their unique approaches to God and Torah from Limud, New York 2016. At 9 tonight, Mark Golub sits down with president of the Shalom Hartman Institute, Rabbi Daniel Hartman, discussing the themes of his latest book, Putting God Second on L'chaim. And coming up right after this newscast tonight, Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz, who was a member of the O.J. Simpson legal team, talks about the many inaccuracies in the FX miniseries, The People vs. O.J. Simpson, on tonight's In the News with Mark S. Golub. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, March the 22nd, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.